Hey everyone, what I would like to do today is show you how I am backing my computer up on my Synology NAS. There's a few different backup options available with Synology. You can see active backup for business, active backup for business, DSM, for Google, for Microsoft, etc. And there's obviously third-party options as well. But the one that I use is this one, active backup for business. Now, I have to say right off the bat, I am not an expert on this, and I haven't even optimized it yet for this PC, and I've not even set it up for my Mac Mini and for my other laptop, etc. But I would like to show you all today because I think this is a fantastic tool, and I think this is something that a lot of you would really benefit from using, or a similar solution. But I want to show you how I have things set up. Now, I've had this backup setup running for a couple of years now at this point. I've got it running on my Synology DS923 Plus. The reason I'm talking about it today is because, unfortunately, a few days ago, my main PC, which is what I'm recording with just now, had a Windows update and it did not go to plan. The update appears to have went through okay, but what it did was corrupt my main Microsoft Windows profile. And what that meant was that I would get to the login screen and then it was just a black screen. I couldn't do much. I could go into Task Manager, but I couldn't do much more than that. And that sent me down a rabbit hole of creating new user profiles and trying lots of different fixes. And eventually what I had to do was set up Windows 10 on an ISO and a USB flash drive. Yes, I'm still on Windows 10. I will be upgrading to Windows 11 soon. But yeah, I had to go down the boot drive route and reinstall Windows, etc., and get it working that way. But what this highlighted again is that I need to revisit my backup setup because, well, Windows backup and recovery isn't great. I'm sure you guys are aware of all of this if you've used Windows before. So I first started using Windows, when I was young. I started using it in the 90s, and I went through all the horrible versions of Windows 95, ME, XP, 2000, all the rest of it. And I had a lot of, messing about during that period, and I got a lot of experience of backing up and restoring. But for the most part, Windows backup and recovery hasn't really got better over the years, in my opinion. Yeah, there's a lot of different options you can do. You've got system restore points, etc. But quite a lot of the time when I've used restore points in the past, it doesn't always fix the problem, or it restores it to a previous version, and then the next Windows update causes more problems, etc. It's just one of those things. I just think that Windows could do a better job with their whole recovery process. And you'll see here, we've got this here, go back to a previous version of Windows 10, you can reset your PC, etc. I'm not saying this is terrible. I think they have improved things over the years. They have made it a little bit more efficient. We don't see the blue screen of death as much as we did in the past, but I don't think this is great either. I think there's better solutions out there from third parties. And, I think this is something they have to review. One of the things I think they've done over the last few years as well is made Windows worse. Certainly with Windows updates, when you install a Windows update now, like for example, if you've removed a lot of shortcuts, if you've removed solitaire and all these things you don't want, with certain updates, they just reinstall everything back again, even though you don't want it. So there's a lot of kind of frustrating aspects of that I don't like. But what I'd like to show you is the Synology NAS and how I've got things set up. Now, if I just quickly go back to the browser, I want to show you active backup for business. And if I open the File Explorer, you can see that, this is some of the backups that I've got. And the reason there's 5, or I think there's 5 there, or 6, yeah, 5 there, is because I've set it up that way. I've set it up to keep the latest 5 backups. Now, there is a little bit of a gap there as far as backups going, just because I was changing things and I didn't set it back up again. But this is a list of my recent backups for this PC, and you can click into any of them. You can see the image, etc., and you can see what was actually backed up. Now, there's a desktop utility that you can install on your computer, which I tried to install today. I need to revisit that. It wasn't working correctly, but the point of that agent is that it allows you to restore things easily rather than downloading files, etc. But it works really well, and it's quite impressive. Now, if I go back to here, I'll show you the Synology Drive client, and this is one of the great things that I love about the NAS is that I've got this Synology Drive, and it's like a terabyte or so, and I keep all my kind of key files that I use all the time there. So like video recordings, my latest video files that I'm setting up for YouTube, etc. And I sync that to obviously on this PC, but also to, if I can get it here, there's an external drive I've got up here. Get it in shot. I've got an external drive here, which is connected to my Mac Mini, and that's always kept up to date. It's kept in sync, and it works great. It means that I've always got the latest files everywhere where I need it. So that works really well. It's great, and you can see there's logs here of the latest updates, etc. There was some syncing issues there, and you go back, those were all okay. And there's global settings here you can set up for syncing files and different things and how you set things up. So all of that's good. But you can also see here that there's backups, and you can back up now, you can restore as well. But if you click on settings here, you can see what I'm backing up. Now, what I kind of need to revisit is whether I just back up the whole C drive, because at the moment I'm just saving my user profile, my Windows user profile. Now, that's because it stores quite a lot of important files for me, like OBS recording settings, which I actually restored today. And it stores a lot of different things like that, which is really useful. But I probably should just save that whole C drive, just back up the whole thing. It does mean, saving another 300 gigabytes of data all the time. But it's maybe going to pull me out of a hole in a certain situation that it makes a restore a lot easier. But you can see that there's lots of different options here. I've got it set up daily, frequency once a day. And yeah, it works really well. It works really well. Again, I do have to kind of tweak it a little bit. I do have to mess around with it, but it's very easy to download the desktop utility and just start backing things up right away. Now, if I open the actual software here, you can see it here. This is active backup for business, and there we go. I'll get it here. Can you see it? Yes, you can see that now. So you can see the overview of it now, and you can see I'm backing up one PC and Mac. And again, I do need to start backing up my Mac as well actively, but the reason I haven't done that in my defense is that there's basically nothing on it just now. But yeah, you can see that what I'm backing up, and this is really versatile. You can back up whole NAS machines, servers, file servers, virtual machines. You can see when the latest backups were, etc. And it just gives you lots of information about what's going on. And you can go through and get information about all the backups that you've got set in there, and that there's restore status as well if you're doing a big restore. And this has got more information about the settings, traffic throttling, etc., which I don't apply. But at the top here, you can see the main way that I've got it set up is to back up my main PC. And you can see here, Kevin default. I click on that there, and if I click on that, I think it's this one. Yes, you can see a log. So if you look in this area, you can add a device, add a Windows device. You can create tasks and different things, and you can specify exactly what's going to be backed up, whole directories, or, you can specify lots of things, how, if the data is encrypted and different things. There are lots of different options there. You can delete the backups, you can update the agent, etc. But the interesting thing here is that you can restore the whole device, or you can restore a file or a folder. And when you click on restore, you'll see, if you look down the very bottom there, you can see it's kind of like a timeline of backups. So you can see the latest backups there, like that. You can see there's a backup was taken there. And the great thing is that you can just go in and you can look at what was backed up, etc. And what I did earlier on was restore something on OBS. Now, this is something that, I'll get the folder here, OBS Studio. This is something that if you've used OBS before, you'll know that, like, for example, you can see me just now in this little box. That's using a scene, but it's very easy when you're tweaking things to just move the camera the wrong way, or you click to change the resolution, and it, instead of just applying to one scene or one profile, it applies to multiple areas, and all of a sudden your recording setup looks messed up. And yes, you can fix it, but it's time consuming, and quite frequently the best thing I find is to go back to the last working configuration that you had for your OBS recording setup. And that's what I did today. I had to go in, and I went in, and you can see profiles and scenes here. And I went in, and you can see I've got different profiles, different resolutions, and under scenes, I've got lots of different scenes for, again, different resolutions and different things. But I went back in today and I restored the files. And if you look here, you can see I downloaded basic.zip. And when you can right click on any of these and you can click to restore. If you click to restore, this is where you need that backup agent, which is an application on your computer running, and that will automatically restore the files on the target computer. So if I click restore and I've got the agent, the application running on my computer, it will just restore that file on my local PC, which is really good. But what I chose to do today was just download. Now, this to me is so important for me because it's so easy for importing configuration files for OBS recording or for my video editing applications or for a host of different things. It's so easy for things to become corrupted. It's so easy for things to get messed up. And the ability to just go into a version from a few days ago or something and just get the version that's working, it is very important to me, and it's worth so much to me. And there are lots of different backup solutions for get it here, go back to the packages, package center. There are lots of different applications you can download for Synology, but I found this one to be really good and it works really well for me. And as I'm showing, and as you've probably kind of connected the dots so far with the way that I'm showing you all of this, is that I'm not an expert on this at all. I've got a very basic backup and restore setup right now. I do need to revisit this. I do need to re-examine what files, what directories, and exactly what's being backed up. But it just shows you how powerful this is. The fact that I can back up a whole NAS, virtual machines and file servers and different things, and I can keep them all in the NAS. Yeah, I'm not an expert, but hopefully now you've got a better understanding as to what this can do. And the great thing about this is that when you buy the NAS, you get this free of charge. You don't have to pay like a yearly fee or anything like that. It's just built into the Synology's suite of apps. So it's really good. It really is good, and I can't speak highly enough about it. And it's one of those things, backups, restores, it's a boring topic, let's be honest. It's not exactly the most exciting thing. And like many of you, I'm very guilty of putting things like that to the side, just forgetting about it. But the last few days have reminded me that sometimes things don't go to plan. And when that happens with computers, if you don't have a backup, if you don't have important files stored, you can put yourself into a really dodgy position, a really difficult position. I was staring down the barrel of a gun a few days ago, and I really did think I'm going to have to completely reset Windows. I'm going to have to, install everything again, set up my lights again, set up all the configuration again, and start from zero. I really was worried about that at one point, but Synology backups to the rescue. Thankfully, I did have all of that there. In a worst case scenario, I can fall back on that, and I can get back up and running in next to no time. So thanks for watching, guys. This isn't a tutorial on how this works. This isn't, this is the best way to use Synology backups or Synology Active Backup for Business. I'm not an expert on this subject. I'm really not, but I did want to share it all with you because I think it's a really useful tool. So I'd love to hear from those of you who use Synology NAS and use this backup system. And I'd love to hear what your backup system is as well. What are you relying on to back up your computers? Are you just relying on default backup and restores such as Windows restores? Let me know how you're doing it. Let me know how you have things set up. If you've enjoyed the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And until next time, take care.